Uh, Hey guys, welcome to Android Study Exams. I'm Suprasad Padi, facilitator for this program. Before starting this first session, let me tell you a little about Android Study Exams. I hope my voice is clearly audible and you can see my screen. So, what exactly is Android Study Exams? Android Study Exams are community organized study groups for people to do hands-on learning for Android app development. Android Basics is a series of sessions focused specifically on learning how to build Android apps without prior Android experience. Now, you would need a Google developer profile. So if you have not made one yet, then go to the link google.dev to make one. With the developer profile, you can collect up to 16 badges as you complete 16 pathways in the course. You can showcase and share your achievements as you keep completing each pathway. First of all, you would need Android Studio, an IDE that makes Android development easy and convenient. So you can download the Android Studio in the link that we will provide. On the screen, you can see the main course link that is made and provided by Google. In this link, you can go and actually do the course. There are 16 pathways that you would need to cover. Also, you can go to play.kotlin or kotlinlang.org to practice Kotlin. I will soon be showing you how to. To get started, all you need is a computer, internet, and Android Studio. Now, let's see how the course is actually structured. So there are 6 units in total, under which in total there are 16 pathways. At the
Excuse me,
end of
sir.
sure.
Yeah, so actually, I think the slide is not going forward. So can you just recheck which screen are you sharing?
Sure. Let me just check that.
Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. So I hope everything is clearly visible right now. Okay, so this is what I was showing actually. Sorry for the interruptions. I hope my audio is clear now. There are in total 6 units, under which in total there are 16 pathways, and at the end of each pathway there will be a quiz. And once you complete the pathway, you will get a badge by Google that you can share as well as use to decorate your developer profile. Now, this is how the 16 pathways are actually there. So this is what you will be learning in this entire lesson or entire course. So first is introduction to Kotlin, and the next one would be you would be creating your first Android application and building a basic layout in the third pathway and adding a button to an app, making it interactive to get user input in the fifth pathway and display a scrollable list. Then you will be learning how to navigate between screens, introduction to navigation components, architecture components, advanced navigation examples, coroutines, get display data from the internet, introduction to SQL, Room and Flow. You will be handling data, use Room for data persistence, and then you will be scheduling tasks with Work Manager. So this is how the course is structured, and you will be learning in this entire season. Now the main question is, why should you enroll in Android Study Apps? You get to learn Android and Kotlin. You get to earn cool badges every time you complete a pathway. Show off your certificate on social media profiles, resume, etc. Get a chance to build real life working app that might get featured by Google. Why? But why Kotlin? You can also do it in Java. I have learned Android with Java, and I've made multiple applications using Java before learning Kotlin, and I've definitely experienced some benefits with Kotlin that I had heard before. So first of all, Kotlin is an expressive, statically typed language for development on Android and server. It was developed in 2010 by JetBrains, which is free and open source and has 5.8 million developers around the world. Google made Kotlin as first preference for developing apps. There is interoperability with Java and provides null safety. There are some interesting facts about Kotlin. I don't want to waste time on statistics about Kotlin, but here are some for reference which might interest you. But now let's just get started on to the session itself. So if you have a question, then you can ask it right now about the Android Studies app itself. If you want, then you can put your questions in the chat. After this, we'll start the session itself.
One thing you are raising your hand. So if you have any doubt, ask.
Is
Sohan,
anyone speaking? Sorry, it is not audible clearly.
Sohan Singh, you are raising your hand. You can unmute yourself and ask your query.
If you're facing any problem, then you can put your question in chat as well. I will be looking into all the questions later on. I think we should now move on to the session itself and learn about Kotlin as I speak. So let's get started. This is the session one of Android Basics. This is for people with little to no programming experience. We start at the beginning and you will learn how to build simple Android apps in Kotlin. Here are some of the prerequisites that will be helpful. Having basic computer literacy and basic math skills is recommended. You will also need a computer and access to the internet to take the online course. It's also helpful if you have an Android device so you can test your app using USB debugging. That we will also be showing you how to. A USB cable will be needed for connecting your phone to the Android. If you don't have an Android device, then don't worry. You will still use your computer to emulate an Android device, which also I will be showing how to. So let's talk about what you will learn as a part of Android Basics. First and foremost, the goal is for you to build your first Android apps. To do this, you will install Android Studio on your computer, which is an application to build Android apps. Along the way, you will also basic programming concepts and the Kotlin language. At the end, we will also talk about resources on how you can continue learning and building apps beyond this event. You will be walking through Android Basics in Kotlin course. This is a free online training developed by Google for people like yourself to learn how to build basic Android apps. The course is made up of units and units are composed of pathways. As discussed, first will be focused on first unit which is shown here. It has made up of 4 pathways. In session 1 we will work on the first 2 pathways, introduction to Kotlin, and create our first application. And in session 2 we'll be working on building a basic layout and adding a button to your application. So you may be wondering, what is a pathway? It's an ordered sequence of activities to learn specific skill. An activity can be a video, hands-on coding tutorial known as CodeLab, an article or a quiz. You can see at least 4 activities on these pathways. On your screen, you will be seeing Welcome to Android Basic in Kotlin, build your first Android app, write your first program and create a birthday message. All these are activities that you need to complete for this pathway to complete. All these activities are meant to help you reach specific learning objectives by the end of this pathway. There is a quiz at the end of each pathway to check your understanding of what you just learned. Here is what a simple sample quiz looks like. There are no limits on the number of retries for a quiz, but if you get a question wrong, try to understand what the concept is, even if you need to look back at the source material before answering again. And once you complete the quiz, your pathway is completed and you will earn a badge that you can share on LinkedIn, on other platforms, and also put on your developer profile, which you can share as well. Now the badges you earn can be saved in your developer profile, which you can actually use to decorate your developer profile and share that as well. Now here is the concept overview. So Kotlin programming language. We'll be using Kotlin to start writing Android apps. Kotlin helps developer to be more productive. We have seen some statistic that makes it actually somewhat more preferable over the Java. To make it easier for you to learn Kotlin, you will be writing your code in the Kotlin playground, which you can access via the web browser. The site looks something like this. You can write your code in this window and hit the green arrow to run it. The result on your code, known as the output, will be shown up at the bottom of the window where it says hello world. Pathway 2 is where you create your first app. You will need to download and install Android Studio on your computer. This is official tool that professional developers use for Android development. This is where you'll be writing your Kotlin code and building your apps. So In Android Studio, you can use the Android emulator, which can emulate various Android devices on your computer. The emulator allows you to run your app, and it provides almost all capabilities that a real Android device would have. If you do have a physical device and want to use it, there are also instructions in Pathway 2 to get you set up. Lastly, in Pathway 3, you will learn the basic concept of customizing the user interface of a simple app. The user interface, also known as the UI of your app, includes what app looks like and how the user interacts with it. The layout of an app is the design of arrangement that user sees on the screen. In Android, a layout is made up of views. As you can see, there is actually a very good pictorial description, and this is the layout, and what goes inside the layout are actually called views. Here are some examples of types of views that are provided by Android. Text view, which can contain text and is for displaying text. Image view for displaying images, and a button to perform some action when tapped. You may be wondering, okay, this we have gone through. So let's actually go through the Kotlin playground so that you can. I already have the link open. You can also open this link and practice in Kotlin language as we speak. So I hope my screen is visible. And before we get started into the programming languages, there are some concepts that I want to make clear. So generally speaking, there are two constructs of programming language, functional and object oriented. We are not going to go too deep into it as of now. Just learn the basics of how programming language is and what we need to know before actually dive into writing codes for our application. So there are few tokens of programming language. What is a token? Token is an basic element of a programming language that we need to know beforehand. So there is this thing called keyword, which is nothing but a reserved word in a programming language. So there are some words that are already reserved that perform some functionality once we write them in a programming language. For example, in this code, fun is a reserved word or a keyword that we can use to say that to the compiler that this is actually a function. So that exactly what a keyword is. Now, what is an identifier? Identifier is nothing but a name. We give name in real world to know who we are referring to. Similarly, we have to give names in a programming language for our understanding of what we are actually referring to, as well as for the compiler to understand what we are referring to. Then there are operator. Operator, when operates on operands, gives us an output. For example, addition is an operator, multiplication is an operator, division is an operator. Once you perform, say, division between two operands, that can be a constant or literal, then it gives you an output, which is also a constant. Constants are nothing but literals. These are values like 12, 23, or let's say character A or B, even a string. Uh, that is what you would call a constant. These are nothing but literals that hold, that basically means a value. Now let's see one simple program. So when you actually go, you write like this, fun. Fun is the keyword that you write to define or to say to the compiler that you are actually writing a function. Function is, this is how you write the syntax of a function. This is where you give the name or the so-called identifier so that the program can identify and you can identify what exactly. And once you give the name, we are giving the name main to this function. You can put the code inside this function. So this code is called, once this particular code is called, we call a function by writing like this. Then this everything inside this will be executed. So if I say println world, world and someone calls this function, then this statement would execute it. Now println is a function itself that we are calling, and we're passing the argument hello world, which is a string. And what it should do basically is print hello world on the screen. So on the right of the screen, you can see a run button, which is what you have to click to run the function, and it actually runs the function and put the output that we are looking for. Now there can be, we can also write multiple functions. Let's say print hello world, and call this function the way we just explained, then it should it should call this function, and everything written inside it should be printed basically. So this one is being printed. If we write multiple statement inside, we can write multiple statements inside this block. This is the specifier that we are talking of right now. So everything written inside it should be printed, or everything done inside it should be executed once we call the particular function. So now this should be called. Now this is the basic of function. We can also pass arguments that we'll see in the future references. Now other things that we need to know is, you can see there are these green color words written over here, and they are not being executed, and we are not getting error for just writing like this. So what exactly are these called? Comment lines. So what happens is, once you write a comment line, the compiler actually ignores these statements. This is for your reference, so that you can keep track of what you are actually doing. So once you put, like, say, double slash, you can write a single in a single line, whatever you write in front of a double slash would be considered as a comment line. So I can write anything and it won't matter to the program at all. Now you write multi-line comment line, so you can put multiple line uh, inside this block, and this would be ignored by the compiler, and everything outside the comment line would be actually executed. So this is basically how the programming language works. There are other concepts, like there is variables. You can use var or val in Kotlin to declare a variable, and you can actually give a name. This name is an identifier, and the concept variable is what is used to store values. Values as in the constants. It can be a character, it can be a string, it can be a number, and uh, you can now use x, which would refer to this value that we have stored. So for example, equals to 20, and let's say we just run the code. Just give me a second. Then we get the value 10. Uh, Similarly, when we write for y, then we should get the value 20, because in y we are storing 20, and in x we are storing 10. So what this dollar and followed with curly bracket means is, inside this what we are putting is, we can put variables that actually have a value stored in it, and this thing that we are passing as an argument in the println statement is called a string, which is nothing but an array of characters. So you can use this to write characters which can be actually passed in as an argument, and the compiler can process it. So when you run it, the compiler should print the arguments passed in it, which is nothing but a string. And basically you can do a lot of stuff with it, and there are a lot of things that we'll be learning in Kotlin as well. Like there is control structure and uh, loops, if statements that we'll be learning. And but before that, we have let's have a look at the Android Studio itself. So I'll be stopping my presentation right now to share my Android Studio screen. I hope my screen is visible now. This is actually Android Studio that you'll be using. Um, so you can go to File, New, a new project, and there you have to select an activity that will be a basic template provided to you. In general, you can select empty activity and click next and give your name of the application. Once you install, this is how you'll be doing or starting creating your application. So you can give a name to your application. Package name is basically how you put your uh, name that can be accessed by other applications as well. So if other applications also want to call your applications from their applications, they would need the package name. You can generally the general convention, it is opposite of how you put the domain name. So for example, com.example .asds. So first is the domain itself, which is com, and uh, then the dot to represent what is inside the domain, so the directory that you are having, for example, and then the package name is the name of your application that you want to put. So this is just one simple structure of giving a package name. You can write anything you want to, and this is how where you select the language. You can do it with Kotlin, Java. One good thing about this is you can also use Java and Kotlin both together in Android Studio while making an Android application as well. That is completely fine. And here you set the target API, which in general is the minimum SDK that you are making your Android application for. So, for example, there is the minimum that is 4.1 Jelly Bean, or Android 7.0 Nocket, and the latest one, Android 12. You can actually set your target. What is the minimum Android SDK that you're targeting? And after that, you click on the finish button over here, and you're good to go. So once you create the Android Studio app, once you create a basic template or basic app for your application, I'm sure that it is not visible right now because I'm sharing the previous screen. So you would have basically these two things. Let me share those as well. Okay. So you would basically have these two things. Let me put screen. Okay, so you will be basically having these two things already open for you. You can access them by on the left of your screen. You can see there is the structure of how it is present. So for example, inside app there is manifest, there is Java, and where there inside the com.example.asds you have the main activity where your code goes, which you can write in the Kotlin. And in activity main.xml you can actually showcase the layout of how your app is actually going to look. So for example, there is already one text view which is inside, which is in the center of the screen that you can see. So once I run this application, um, you should be able to see how it would showcase. Basically, it would be showing this screen only, and you can run it on emulator or using your phone to debug. So that is how you can debug your application. So how you can use this layout thing is, it is actually very easy. You can use the drag and drop features. As you can see, the inside this palette there is common text buttons, and inside these there are multiple elements: text view, button, image view, recycler view. All these are views or the object of the class view, which you can just drag and drop, and it will automatically be showcasing over here. So for example, this is another view, this is a button, and you can actually keep track of what goes where. On the left of your screen, where you can see there is a component tree. So the main view is a constant layout, and inside that goes a text view which can contain multiple text. So for example, you can actually change the text that goes in there over here. So as you can see that it says text hello world. So if I change it to something, say happy new year or something like that, because new year is coming, then it will show you happy new year. And it's just that easy to change the text and add multiple attributes about it. For example, you can add actually uh, alignment and all, layout constant, and you can add text color hint and put hint over here, which would showcase in a less slight way, as well as you can change the font, and it's just that easy. And then there is size, where you can make it bigger or smaller. It's just simple drag and drop and simply searching and putting it wherever you want. And once you do that, you are good to have a basic layout, and you can pretty much do anything with just drag and drop. But here is some advanced stuff. If you want to say uh, customize it with more and want something more, then you can actually put those attributes over here as well. So Android, uh, all these are part of Android, and these are stored in a key value order. These are a XML file, and this layout width, layout height, these are all keys, and these are actually values that represent uh, what that particular key supposed to have. So for example, a font family, it is saying that sans serif medium, means it is saying that the font should be this particular one. And text size, similarly, it is showing that it should be 48 SP. Now, this is basically how you can write the layout or make the layout or design the layout with simple drag and drop features. There are a lot of views available that you can just drag and drop, and you have to add constants to it to showcase where it actually belongs. And it's actually very easy. I would suggest you to experiment with it and discover a lot of stuff as you actually work on projects. Now, moving on to the another important part that you need to do is this thing called AVD Manager. Now, what AVD Manager is basically a built-in emulator that is given to you along with Android Studio. I hope the AVD Manager screen is also visible. Or let me just share my entire screen so that there won't be any problem. Okay, I think you can see now the entire screen. So this is what would open once you click on this AVD Manager, which is a small phone-like button. And inside this, you can see there are multiple names saying Pixel 2, Pixel 2, and some API level. So basically, it means the Android device or the device name that I have given. You can give any name, and the API basically uh, means the SDK that is installed in it. So, for example, API 30 is Android 10, I believe. Once you click on create new virtual device, this should initially be empty for you. You have to click on create new virtual device. You have to select the phone, which phone you want to emulate and run your application on. You have to click on that and choose a minimum or like choose an API level that you are actually want to install it. For me, the Android queue is already downloaded. You have to download the operating system that you want to install and select it and then click on next. You can give it a name. You can give it any name. My phone Pixel, I don't know. And once you give it a name, you have to select for which orientation do you prefer when the app actually starts. You can change the orientation in the app itself, but this is for the starting, whichever you want. In general, it is good to have portrait unless you're making an landscape application. Phone installed over here. And so how you are actually going to run it is over here you will have your app, which means that you are running your application, and you can actually choose the phone that you have created or whatever phones that you have available. It would show over here and you can choose that and click on run. So I have already run it, and you can see that the app has already opened. Let me rerun it so that you can see actually Happy New Year being printed over here. Let me uh, delete this as well, delete the button, and once I rerun the application by clicking that green arrow button, it should run the application on the phone, and it shows Happy New Year in big font and whichever font we have given. Now there are a lot of things that you can do with the layout and make it much more beautiful than this, and you will be making beautiful Android applications in the further coming session. And once you are going to do the pathways, you will actually see that uh, you can really build a lot of awesome applications. Um, Now let me show you some other features of layout, like color and all. So once you have to select the view so that you can actually check the attributes of it. And let's say I want to change the color of it, you can actually change the color of that text. And this is, now I will show you how to add actually images to make it interesting. So as you can see, there is this project, and here is how you are actually going to put the structure, whichever you prefer. If you click on project, then it will be how it is stored in your directory. Once you go to the save directory, this is how it is actually present over there. So for example, in SSC and in main in Java, you should have the main code. And convenient for the things that you actually need would be at the few steps of your hand. Now you can go to the resource manager where you can actually add an image, and let's say click, and you can add an image asset, and you can browse from uh, your from your directories, and you can actually choose an image. I'm not going to choose any, but you can choose and it will show you that particular thing. And you can resize it over here and give it a name, say Android image big, and it should create an image asset for you that you can use in your layout further on. So this is how it would look. This is a PNG file, and this is the size that you actually see. These drawings would be there. And later on in the activity main XML, you can actually put image view, uh, uh, common image view. So image view is a, so for example, you can put these images as well, and this should showcase in the application. now now you can actually create a really good application that actually looks good. You can add images, you can change the colors, you can add font, you can actually add more views. And once you actually have are building a, say, big application or a industry level application, you would have a lot of views inside this. You'd get hard to manage. So then you can actually see the use of this componentry. It shows you which view is where, and it is easier to select it and actually change the attributes of that particular. So now I think we are good to start with an Android application. If there is any question, we will take a short break and you can actually ask your question in the chat, or you can just unmute and ask.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
So I was asking that you're going kind of fast, so it is hard to catch what you are exactly telling. So can you go a little bit slower?
Sure, I'll try to go more slower from now on.
Thank you.
Is there anything particular that you did not understand? You can actually
Uh,
put it.
it's about that means initially starting the Android Studio, I'm not able to get anything from here.
Okay, okay. I would say you should actually do it, and if you face any problems, then I am here to help you. So just get started. You have to create the application and choose the activity that you actually want to start. So the initial activity that you're choosing would be your template that you would have the starting part.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
sir, audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Saying that, sir, is this meeting being recorded? Like, will this be uploaded on the website?
Yes, this is being recorded and this would be uploaded also. I would just say whatever I have said, you just need to get started with it. It is actually very easy, and you should not face much problems in doing it. So once you get started, and if you get stuck anywhere, then you can put your queries in the Telegram group. I hope everyone has already joined the group, and I, along with the coordinators of GDSC, are here to help you. If you are stuck anywhere, then we'll be obviously helping you to get through that. Here is some of the summary that we have already done. All Kotlin programs need to have a main function. As I had shown you, we had written the function main, and inside that we are writing the code. And this is an must have for all the program language, as the compiler actually calls the main function initially and everything inside it actually gets run. We use the println statement to print a line of text, and we can place the text inside double quotes, which we can pass in the argument in the println function, which get printed in the console that you can actually see. Now we can repeat the println instruction to print multiple lines of text, and there are errors that will be marked in the red so that you can actually rectify those errors. This is something that I would like you to work on because it is actually easy, and you can see how you can work with functions and println statement further. And also this is something that is there in the code lab. If you are also learning, if you should be learning from the code labs and pathways, and you will see this problem as well, and you can actually work on that to build applications. Now these are some of the summaries that will be discussed further. Now, so I hope uh, I have shown you something like how to get started, and I would actually want you to go to this website, g.co/android/basics, and there you can actually, let me go there only. Um, I hope my screen is visible. So if I go to this website, you can see whatever I was discussing. There are 6 units: Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, Unit 5, Unit 6, and in total there are 16 pathways. You have to click on Explore and go to the pathway, and there you will see some of the activities that you need to complete in the pathways. Some of these are very short videos, like 1 or 2 minutes, and uh, some of them are code labs that you just need to complete. So I would like if you actually go through this and have a read. You should not have much problem. And in the end, you need to take the quiz. And once you complete the quiz, you are actually completing the pathways, and then you will be getting the badge, the one that you can see on the screen right now. And you can share it on LinkedIn and as well as on your resume profile, and showcase it in your developer profile as well. So this is what you need to do in this entire course. That is, before January 10 you need to complete these courses to be eligible for a certificate, that is the course completion certification, and also other perks like getting your app featured by Google. That is an opportunity for one application, and you would have a chance on that as well. So this is all for today, and if you have any questions, then you can ask right now, or we will end the meeting.
So basically, we have to go to that website to start our course.
Yes, you need to go to that website, which is by Google, g.co/android/basic, and complete all the pathways that there are. And whatever I have discussed right now is actually part of that pathway, the of the unit 1, pathway 1 and pathway 2. There is it is available in much more details over there, and you can actually go through it, and if you face any problem, then we are here to help.
So, according to you, around how long should it take to complete the pathways?
It depends on how much you actually know. So, for example, if you are already good with programming languages, then it should not take you much longer time. And if
I
you are
mean, I am second year at IIM. I know Java and only the basics of Kotlin, not fully.
us, okay, then it should not take you a lot of time. You just need to learn the Android concepts. So it should take you around, like, say 3 days or 4 days. If you're giving like 4 4 5 hours, then you should be able to easily understand all the concepts and actually do the projects as well.
Okay.
Is there any more questions? Otherwise, we can end the meeting. And if you have any more queries, then you can put them in the Telegram group, and we will answer those queries over there. Okay, so I think we don't have any more questions. So thank you for attending the introductory session. I hope all your doubts were clear about what exactly Android Study Jams are. And thank you for attending, and best of luck on your journey to clear the course.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.